Hey, good morning. Well, good afternoon, actually. This is Mark. I'm the founder of knapsack.com. That's NAP-SACK.com. I'm actually in my car, but I just pulled up in front of my house and should be going in soon. But I had just wanted to reflect on something that I listened to the other day. I was watching an interview on Martin show. He's somebody that I've lost a heck of respect for. He's a race hustler, a race baiter, and I just don't. He's another Al Sharpton with a microphone. Well, he had a guy named C.J. Pearson on his show. What they do is they get black conservatives to come on their show so they could belittle them. And on this show, Roland Martin's show, an old white woman told C.J. Pearson, who's a young black man, that he doesn't sound black. Now, somebody help me out. What doesn't sound black to you sound like? I mean, I don't get it. How does a white person tell a black man that they don't sound black? So when they say that, does that mean that black people are supposed to sound uneducated? Are we supposed to sound like, like street thugs? What does it mean? And how come more liberal blacks who say they Black Lives Matter, why do they allow it? Like Roland Martin. Because why didn't Roland Martin check her to let her know what does it sound like? What does a black person supposed to sound like? How do we supposed to communicate? Are you telling us that we are too uneducated so there's a certain way that we speak? Because I just don't get it. And she got even more frustrated when C.J. Pearson brought up the truth that Donald Trump has done more for the black community than his predecessor, than Joe Biden in his 48 years in Washington. But yet, us black people still sit there and fall for the okie doke. It is annoying, sickening. It's pretty tiring. So, I go on my Facebook page and I put up something about if you ever ask a black person about to give a good explanation, give a prime example of blacks in today's time. We're not talking about the 30s or when they want to show old documentaries. I'm talking about right now of black people being oppressed or being affected by systemic racism. And I stated that what they would say, the response you would get is, I don't have time for this right now, or go F yourself, or the usual Uncle Tom, you're an Uncle Tom, blah blah blah. Anyway, a white guy gets on and he said, the only audience you have are white people, and they shouldn't be saying anything, especially what black people have gone through. And then he said, you're a fraud. Well, he spelled your Y-O-U-R when it should have been Y-U-R-E, but I digress. He said you're a fraud. So my question is to him once again, give a prime example of when black people have been oppressed or is going through is experienced systemic racism in 2021. You'll never get an answer. And if they do give you an answer, it's going to be, once again, their answer is, or their response will be, go F yourself, Uncle Tom, blah, blah, the usual lines. Or they will go with the police, which in 2020, over 400 white men were shot by the police, while same year, over 200 black men were shot by the police. Now, a lot of people want to use we're only 13% of the population, which that is a crying shame, because we used to be second in population with way more, over 15% in population, and now we're down to 13. But I digress. We'll talk about that another day. However, right now, if the more whites are shot by the police than blacks, and they get their statistics from the amount of dealings that they have or arrests that they have with certain individuals, and it is not based nationally. Like, out of all the black people in America, how no, it's just within, like a county like Texas can count how many arrests they have. They separate it by how many the races, and then they give the percentage. So let's stop using that excuse that we're only 13. No, that's not how it works. So that's that. And then there was one more thing I want to do. Blacks, and so I also debunked this theory that black people in America are struggling from systemic racism and oppression. The most successful blacks are the Nigerians. When they come from Africa to America, they become lawyers, doctors, surgeons. They reach for the stars. They have choices. They can either go and become a success or become a failure. They choose success. They take leadership roles. Now, these are blacks, and mind you, they're black. They look just like me. I'm a black person. They look just like me. They come from Nigeria, from Africa, and they become successful. The other ones are people from the Caribbean islands. They come here. The ones who become born here, and I don't know what happened, and then they move on, these kids then start to lose their way. But majority of the time, the people from the Caribbean islands, they come to America, and they become successful. They get good jobs. They graduate from school. They start their own business. They get homes. Black Americans, we tend to blame everybody else for our failures, and we'll blame racism for it. That in today's time, racism still exists, and it does not. This country is not a racist country. We are just obsessed with race and racism, but we are not a racist country. Anybody can become successful. I can become a success if I put my mind to it, I get the education that I need, and I move forward. If I want to sit back and blame everybody else, oh, help me, give me, I stand on the street corner. I got friends right now who sit. I remember growing up in New York, growing up in Harlem. We used to hang out, drink beer in the lobby of the projects, drinking beer or alcohol, whatever. There's still people today doing the same thing that they did 20, 30 years ago. Standing in the lobby of the projects, drinking beer or alcohol or getting high. They're still doing it now. Nobody has tried to elevate themselves. History teaches us that we can become better when we know about our past. That's what it teaches us to become better. And when you know your past and still doing the same thing at the present moment, you'll never succeed. You'll never become something. Sometimes you have to have that awakening. Sometimes you have to have that moment when you look at your life and you say, I need to do better because I'm just not getting there. And so far, Black Americans, I don't know what it is. We think that playing basketball, football, becoming a rapper, we feel like that's the road to success. But the road to success is so many other ways. And so when Michelle Obama say things like, I'm afraid for my daughters to drive a car because of racism, she is a flipping joke. That is the most pathetic thing to say. And it discourages young black girls from succeeding because all they're going to keep thinking is, oh, this racism, I'm not going to be able to make it because the white people aren't going to see me make it. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is the saddest day in this country. And I blame Democrats because they took this racism and they pushed it too far. To have Joe Biden say that systemic racism today is at its worst is the biggest lie ever. And Joe Biden just lied to more blacks, and all black people are going to say is, yes, systemic racism, and they have no clue. They have no clue what it's like to experience systemic racism, oppression. They don't even know what white privilege is because they are privileged. They want to see white privilege, go back before the Civil Rights Act of 64 was passed, and you'll see oppression, systemic racism, white privilege, all that stuff. You'll experience it then, especially the court system when you go to court innocent and they still find you guilty. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I hope to see more of you guys. Remember, you could find me on knapsack.com or just leave a message on this YouTube page. You can subscribe at the bottom, and I will have another video for you soon. Until then, peace. Talk to you guys later.